What if, just 1 second from now, everything stopped? Not slowed. Not fading. Stopped. Completely. Right now, you are moving.
This bowl here
You don't
is
feel
very
it,
special.
and you don't notice it,
brings good
but you are
fortune.
traveling through space at a
It is
speed so
beautiful.
great
How
that
much
if
are
it
you
suddenly
asking for it?
disappeared, your body would remember before your mind ever could. And when that moment comes, there is no warning, no sound, no signal, just silence. And then, motion. Violent. Sudden. Unforgiving. Because the Earth has stopped. But you haven't. In less than a heartbeat, the world transforms into something unrecognizable, as everything not anchored to the very bones of the planet is thrown forward with unstoppable force, turning cities into storms of debris and people into fragments of motion caught in something far beyond control. You don't fall. You fly. Faster than anything you have ever experienced, faster than your body was ever meant to endure, faster than thought itself can process, as the ground disappears from beneath you and the air becomes the only thing left to meet you. And it hits hard. Buildings twist. Glass shatters. Steel bends like it was never strong to begin with. Everything breaks. In that first second, the world does not end quietly. It ends loudly, violently, and all at once, as the illusion of stability, the thing we trust without ever questioning, is ripped away without mercy. And then, the wind arrives. At first, it feels like pressure. Then force. Then something far worse. Because the atmosphere is still moving. And it is not slowing down.
Hold on!
It races across the surface of the planet at speeds beyond imagination,
please don't let
turning the
go.
air into a weapon, into a wall, into something that does not just surround you, but hunts you. Breathing becomes difficult. Then painful. Then impossible. The air presses against your body with relentless strength, tearing through anything that stands in its path, uprooting trees, flattening structures, erasing entire landscapes as if they never existed at all. Forests vanish. Cities disappear. The sky itself changes. Clouds stretch across the horizon in long, violent streaks, pulled apart by forces that no longer follow the rules we once understood, forming patterns that feel unnatural, unstable, almost alive. This is no longer weather. This is chaos. And just when it feels like the world has reached its limit, something else begins. The oceans. They move. Not slowly. Not gently. But all at once. Because water remembers motion, and when the earth stops, it does not forget. Entire oceans surge forward, carrying unimaginable mass, rising into waves so vast that they do not look real, waves that stretch beyond the horizon, growing higher and higher until they stand like walls between the earth and the sky itself. For a moment, there is stillness. And then, they fall. The impact is beyond sound, beyond force, beyond anything human language was built to describe. Coastlines vanish instantly, swallowed beneath water that does not stop at the shore, that does not respect distance or terrain, that moves forward with unstoppable intent. Cities are erased. Lives disappear. History is washed away. And the water keeps going. Into the land. Across continents. Through everything. The map of the world dissolves into something new. Something unrecognizable. And beneath all of it, the earth begins to respond. Slowly at first, then violently. The ground shifts. Cracks appear. Small at first, almost unnoticed, but growing rapidly as pressure builds beneath the surface, forcing the planet to adjust to a reality it was never meant to hold. The land breaks apart. Massive fractures tear across continents, opening without warning, swallowing everything in their path, turning solid ground into something unstable, unpredictable, alive. Mountains collapse. Valleys vanish. Nothing remains the same. And from deep within the earth, fire awakens. Volcanoes erupt across the planet, not as isolated events but as a chain reaction, one awakening another, sending ash into the sky, covering the world in darkness, reshaping the atmosphere into something heavy and suffocating. The sky darkens. The air thickens. And then, for the first time since it all began, there is silence. Not peace, but stillness. Because the Earth is no longer spinning. And that changes everything. One side of the planet faces the sun. Forever. Light pours down endlessly, without interruption, without relief, turning the surface into something uninhabitable, something extreme, something that burns without pause. The oceans begin to fade, slowly evaporating under constant heat, rising into the air and disappearing into a sky that never changes. The ground cracks, splits, dries into something lifeless. It becomes a world of fire. And on the other side, there is only darkness. Endless. Silent. A place where the sun never rises, where temperatures fall lower and lower until even the air feels frozen, until everything becomes still in a way that feels final. The oceans turn to ice. The land becomes rigid. The world holds its breath and never exhales. Between these two extremes, there is only a line. A thin, fragile boundary where heat meets cold, where light meets darkness, where the impossible balance of survival might still exist. And maybe, just maybe, someone survives there. Not living as we understand it, but enduring. Holding on. In caves. Underground. Hidden from a world that no longer supports them. Time changes. Not in hours. Not in days. But in something slower. Something heavier. Because without sunrise, and without sunset, time loses meaning. And in that stillness, something becomes clear. Everything we have ever known depends on motion, on something we never see, never feel, never question. The spin of the earth. Right now. As you listen to this, you are moving. Through space. Through time. Through a system so perfectly balanced that it feels invisible. But it isn't. It is everything. And if it ever stopped, even for a moment, this world, this life, this fragile, beautiful existence would collapse completely. So stand still for a second. Just one. Feel the ground beneath you. It feels solid, safe, unmoving. But it isn't. It never was. And maybe that is the most terrifying part of all. And yet, even in a broken world, something remains. Not cities, not nations, but something quieter, something older. Hope. Because somewhere, in that narrow line between fire and ice, life finds a way to hold on, not with strength, but with patience, adapting slowly to a reality that no longer follows the rules it once did. People change. They have to. No longer masters of the earth, no longer builders of towering cities or creators of endless machines, but survivors, listeners, learners, once again becoming part of the world instead of rulers of it. They move carefully, speak softly, live simply, because everything around them is fragile, and every mistake matters. Food is rare, water is precious, and warmth is everything. They build beneath the surface, carving homes into the ground where the temperature is stable, where the violent extremes above cannot reach them so easily, where life, though difficult, can still continue. Children are born into a silent world. A world without sunrise, without sunset. And yet, they laugh, because they do not remember what was lost, only what is. Stories become their connection to the past, whispered from one generation to another, tales of oceans that once moved freely, of skies that changed color, of a sun that rose and set like a promise kept every single day. To them, it sounds like magic. And maybe it was. Because the truth is, we never noticed how perfect it all was. The balance, the rhythm, the motion. We lived our lives without ever thinking about the invisible forces holding everything together, never questioning the ground beneath us, never wondering what would happen if it all simply stopped. Until it did. And now, in this quiet, fractured world, humanity begins again. Slower this time. Wiser, perhaps. Or maybe just more careful. They watch the sky. They study the land. They learn from the mistakes of a past they never saw but somehow understand. And in the darkness, they create light. Small at first. A flame. Protected. Valued. Because fire, once again, becomes everything. Not as a tool of progress, but as a symbol of survival, of warmth, of life. And as that light flickers against the walls of their hidden world, casting shadows that dance like memories of something long gone, one thought remains. A question. A quiet, unanswered question. Could it ever return? Could the Earth start again? No one knows. But still, they hope. Because hope is the one thing that never needed the Earth to spin. It lives in us. And maybe, just maybe, as long as it does, this story is not over. And now, as this story comes to an end, I just want to say, thank you. Thank you for staying here, for listening, for imagining, and for being part of this journey. In a world that never stops moving, you chose to pause, and that means more than you know. If this story made you feel something, if it sparked your imagination, or simply gave you a quiet moment, then that is everything I hope for. And if you'd like to continue this journey with me, please support the channel by subscribing, so you won't miss the next stories I create. Because this is only the beginning. See you in the next story.